Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. It's been a week, huh? What day are we on? Tuesday? Good Lord. Okay, well, Matt Gaetz moved quickly. And this morning's reading that I recorded yesterday, I didn't think the Democrats would support removal of McCarthy, simply because I thought they would probably try to get concessions out of him and get this budget signed off. I think I did qualify that, though, with the if he can be trusted. And certainly there are a lot of comments from folks in my comment section on that video saying they wouldn't trust McCarthy as far as they could throw him. And if they do get any concessions from him, they better get it in writing because he's not trustworthy. Well, somewhere between yesterday and today, Hakeem Jeffries signaled basically to the Republicans that the Democrats weren't going to support McCarthy. They were going to vote no against him. So all it required were 5 members of the Freedom Caucus, which they got 8, to kick him out. Now, I guess part of the procedure is that McCarthy submitted a list of names for people to replace him on an interim basis. And so he named an ally whose last name is McHenry, who's, so we got the Mick speakers here. McHenry will be the interim speaker. He basically sent everybody home. The Democrats are meeting tomorrow to sort of sort out what their platform point of view is going to be, their position. And then the Republicans are going to meet, and then next week, I guess, they're going to have a meeting or a committee to come up with their new speaker. This just popped out. Basically to come out with their new ambassador for Speaker of the House. Now again, reporting had Matt Gaetz floating Steve Scalise as a potential Speaker of the House. He is the number 2 Republican in the House, currently known as the Whip. And yeah, we'll see if the Republicans will get behind Steve Scalise or not. But let's go ahead. I was going to say, let's read on the energy. Let's read on this drunken hillbilly brawl in the trailer park type energy that we've got going on here. What's going on in Congress, in the House of Representatives, with regards to the House Speaker and the GOP? High Priestess. It's usually about divine feminine wisdom. I'm curious what's going to cross this card. I'm going to try and be very open-minded here and see what's crossing. And then we've got the Magician. I did re-review my reading from April or May this year when I first saw McCarthy being removed as Speaker. And this card came up. Then this is the Illusionist. So I think what this is that the conventional wisdom was that McCarthy was a fraud. He was a weak leader. He was a liar, and nobody trusted him at that point. The Democrats did not trust him. If the Democrats trusted him and they thought he was playing fair, they would have voted to support him, or at least get him through this part of it. But Hakeem Jeffries and company did not. Now, I did read something on CNN. I think it was CNN.com, because I haven't been looking too much at the online articles. It seemed to indicate that McCarthy has lied to the Democrats and broken promises to them. So they felt no need to support him. Matt Gaetz would tell you that from the Freedom Caucus point of view, Kevin McCarthy has not represented the facts. He's basically lied to them and broken promises with them as well. So, in the end of the day, you can only screw people over so much before they boot you out. Underneath it is the Nine of Pentacles, the woman who has a lot. I still wonder if this is going to show me a Liz Cheney reading here. I'll hit you on that because, it would be like who would be this would, if this was answering who the replacement is, it's talking about a wise woman who can create things and is a woman of means. Which I'm looking at this and I'm getting Liz Cheney vibes. But if we stick to the question at hand with the energy in there, this could be telling me Liz Cheney is coming, or it could just be saying that by conventional wisdom, this man was not competent in what he did. He was a liar. He broke promises. He said he could do all these things. He couldn't do any of them. And basically, he wasn't enriching anybody, any one party, or moving any agendas. There was no wealth coming from this man's tenure. Basically, what did you get across? You got a debt ceiling raised and a temporary pass on a budget. That's about all that he's been able to do, and a start of several pointless investigations and impeachment inquiries into Biden. In the past, disappointment. I think this is disappointment on both sides. McCarthy allies would probably say, they liked McCarthy, but the Republican Party did not unite under McCarthy, and the MAGA faction were very vocal about their disappointments with him. But to make deals with the MAGA faction puts a lot of stress and strain on traditional Republicans and are non-starters with the Democrats. So I think even McCarthy is like he's in mourning because he felt he could do so much, but he was up against adversity that he didn't stand a chance. Current situation. Got to find a new person. Start grinding out the votes. Start grinding out the names. Make your list. Who's going to be your new Speaker of the House? Because you tossed out the other guy. Interesting, because you have the working card, now you have the judgment card. Is this because, this could be McCarthy's being judged for the work that he did or the lack of work that he did. This could also be that now as they try to find the new speaker, will the GOP be judged for their complete disorganization and basically being the party of dumpster fires? If, the best thing that can happen with the GOP is that they do find a candidate that they all rally around and can start pushing their agenda. But I don't know how to put this, Okay, so let's say Matt Gaetz is right. Steve Scalise can get the votes. Is Steve Scalise gonna put himself in the same position that Kevin McCarthy put himself in? In other words, is he going to promise all this stuff to the MAGA faction? And if he does, he knows what happens if he doesn't deliver. Or does he not promise them a darn thing and then they don't vote for him? Or do they vote for him because he's not Kevin McCarthy? Is this purely anti-Kevin McCarthy sentiment, which is why it took 15 votes to get him through the first time? Or does Steve Scalise have their respect so that they'll vote for him and it was never about policy? It was about punishing McCarthy. I don't know the answer to that, but that's something to consider with this. They're going to find somebody to unite themselves with. So they have to do the work. So he's going to answer the call. Somebody to unite the party. Will they succeed? No, they're planning on it. Now, in a previous reading, I'm going to pull you up for just a second before I have to come down. In a previous reading, when I asked Spirit to describe what the next Speaker of the House would be, I had an epiphany that it was somebody who had energy like and probably was Liz Cheney. Actually, I think I was a little more definitive than that. I said it was Liz Cheney. So I want to just take this down real quick and show you how this reading could look like it was Liz Cheney. So this question was, what's the energy around the House right now with the situation. But had I asked this question, describe to me the next Speaker of the House. In other words, is Spirit answering the question I asked, or is it giving me a different answer, which is usually it takes me back to say, let's get background. Let's say now it's jumping forward and saying, well, here's your answer. The next Speaker of the House is going to have divine feminine wisdom. She's going to, she will appeal to both sides, and she has wisdom and strength. And she has the ability to manifest. And she can, and with this, and this manifestation is, would be able to create legislation going forward. Actually would probably be a very good House Speaker. Now, this person in the past has had a lot of sorrow and disappointment. Almost like, Kevin McCarthy, leading to her getting kicked out of the number 3 position in the House, and then being primaried and losing the primary because the GOP abandoned her in her re-election run. Somebody who's a hard worker and has been working hard ever since. They've never stopped working. They're perfecting their craft. Somebody who would pass judgment. And I don't mean pass judgment as looking at others and judging them, but somebody who you could look at and judge and say, yes, this person answered the call. Like they were on the January 6th committee and understood what happened during the insurrection, who voted to impeach basically a criminal president, and who has basically, again, I don't like her political point of views, but you can't argue that she doesn't seem to have moral and ethics. Very serious-minded person. Somebody who could pass our judgment and come out fine. Somebody who could unite the Republican Party and the Democrats in bipartisan legislation and wouldn't be offended by it. Now, I realized I have to throw a lot of qualifiers in there, but that's because of the fractionation of the Republican Party right now. And I know I'm going to get a lot of comments saying Liz Cheney voted along with Donald Trump. Yes, she did. About 97% of the time, I believe, is the number for that. And it's because once upon a time, and not so long ago, Republicans always stayed in lockstep. Even if they disagreed with the idea, they stayed in lockstep because they were unified as a party, and they realized that as a minority party, their best path to success was to support each other. Even if you didn't like the idea, you still supported the team. In the current situation with the Republican Party, what you're now seeing is the fracturing of the party, the traditional conservatives in the MAGA faction as starters, or the Tea Parties as starters, the Freedom Caucus. They're split. And I'm sure the evangelicals will split off too at some point. So there'll probably be at least 3 major factions. There may be more. Liz Cheney, at least from the Democrats' point of view, when she was on the January 6th committee, she worked in a bipartisan manner. She's somebody, if she told the Democrats she was going to work on funding work with a Ukraine bill for funding of Ukraine and a couple other things, they know she would honor her commitments, a phrase I used yesterday, and I'm using it again today. Liz Cheney is the type of person who honors her commitments. You may not agree with her politically, but you cannot say that she doesn't honor her commitments. You cannot say that she doesn't have morals or ethics, because she has all of those things. We just don't like her morals or her political views. If she were much more progressive in her mindset, I'm sure we would love her, because basically she's another version of Nancy Pelosi. She's a very strong, tough woman who's very organized and can really drive things through. There's a lot to admire. We just don't like her politics. Okay. So is this somebody who could take, Republicans, traditional conservative Republicans, bring them back, Democrats, at least as far as they know that, who else could the Republicans put in there that would be like way worse than her? Now, again, the Democrats will support Hakeem Jeffries, but if it's in the best interest of the country to, move forward with a Speaker of the House so some stuff can get done, then she would be as good a pick from the Republican side as you could hope for. And this 2 of Wands would indicate that actions are already being taken to bring her in. We're not there yet. We're not at the 4, but feelers are coming out. Interest is being gauged, and underneath it, it would be the woman of means, the woman who's had success. That's why I'm saying, this could very well be like a Liz Cheney vibe. That the minute I saw this card, I started thinking of Liz Cheney, which now I should probably go back to my old video when I thought it was Liz Cheney that would replace McCarthy, and I had that epiphany to see what cards came up. If the 9 of Pentacles came up in that one too. Since I'm not remembering, I can't make that connection. Say, oh yeah, that's the card that came up the last time. All right. Biden apparently has asked the Republicans to pick a replacement quickly. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done in Congress, and them not doing their job impacts the budget. It impacts funding for Ukraine. It can impact a bunch of federal workers and the people that do work in and around, that do work to support the federal government or who rely on folks in the federal government to keep their local economies going here. All right, so let's just throw Steve Scalise. I've focused now on Liz Cheney. Let's go to Steve Scalise. What's the energy around Steve Scalise? Is he going to be a good fit? Does he want this? Let's see what the general read on Steve Scalise is with being potentially the next Speaker of the House. You can make the argument it's his job to lose. Does he want this? Probably. Would he be able to survive the challenges? Probably. Let's see. King of Pentacles. Ooh. Does Donald Trump want Steve Scalise to be the next Speaker of the House? That is something I would have to look up. Oh, jeez. Hang on for a second. I'm going to go pause real quick and just see if I can find something on Donald Trump's opinions on Steve Scalise, because heaven knows Donald Trump is somebody who has opinions. I'll be right back.